Hello, algebra students. This is such a great example about how the language of algebra can actually make your life easier. Let's take a look. It says the equation 80 is equal to, and there's a lot up on that fraction bar, more than just one thing, so I'm going to read that as the sum of t and 231 divided by 4 can be used to find t, the score a student with a current test average of 77 needs to score on the fourth and final test in order to finish with a test average of 80. Solve the equation for t. So if I didn't give you an equation, you would have to know the mathematics, the arithmetic, how to compute, what to do if you know an average already on some tests and you're going to have another test, but you don't have to know any of that because I gave you the equation. And I even told you what that equation can be used to find. I said if you solve this equation for t, you are going to find the score a student needs. And guess what? That's what I want you to do in this problem. So all we really have to do is solve this equation. Now, you might say, Kate, that didn't make it any easier because I hate this fraction. And remember, guys, the day you got equations was the day you got the power to get rid of fractions. You don't like that fraction because you don't like divide by 4. That whole thing is over 4. Well, but I can get rid of math when I have equations by doing opposites. So all you have to know is what the opposite of dividing by 4 is. Opposite of dividing by 4 is multiplying by 4. I'm going to take that entire right-hand side in parentheses, entire thing, guys, in parentheses, and multiply by 4. Now, I can do whatever I want to an equation as long as I do it to both sides. So I'm going to jump across the equal sign and keep these two sides equivalent by multiplying the entire left-hand side by 4 as well. And now you can do this in your calculator if you'd like, but 4 times 80 will give me 320. And that's going to be equivalent to whatever I get on the right-hand side. Well, look, multiplying by 4, dividing by 4 cancel, and so I have t plus 231. And legit question, you guys, a lot of students would say to me, Kate, you've been telling me over and over and over and over again that when I'm solving, I work backwards. So why didn't you move the 231 first? It was adding with t. Shouldn't it have gone first? And I would say if it wasn't in a group, it would have. But the top of a fraction makes a natural grouping. That 231, yeah, it's adding with t, but it's up in that group on the top of the fraction, and groups come last. So by multiplying both sides by 4, we freed up our grouping, and now we can subtract the 231 because it's not part of that grouping anymore. And of course, I can do whatever I want as long as I do it to both sides. And now let's see what our new equivalent equation will be. On the right-hand side, adding 273 and subtracting 273, they're opposites, they cancel. Another way to think of it is they zero out, so it's just t plus nothing, it's just t. And then there's the work to do, and again, I would do this in my calculator because it would be junk to do all the algebra, right, and then have a silly subtraction error. But as Kate doesn't have her calculator, let's see. Okay, I have nothing, I can't take away 1, I've got to borrow, that brings that down to 1, and this up to 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. I only have 1. I can't take away 3. I'm going to borrow down to 2. This goes up to 11. 11 minus 3 is 8. And of course, 2 minus 2 is nothing. So what does t need to be? Well, this student needs to get an 89 if they want to bring their test average up. Of course, they could do better if they wanted to. But the way this sucker is phrased, we just needed that minimum score. So t is equal to 89. Strong work, you guys. Happy learning.